Greetings from the Hall of Framers. My name is Francis, and I have a showdown between Oliver, a very strong pusher player, and very windy day today, and you can see how windy it is just from that shot there, just floated right back into my court. Last time I faced Oliver, I faced him in quite ideal conditions where it was a hard court, very, very little wind, and was able to beat him. So you might expect that, yes, in fact, I will use the wind as an excuse today, once again. And just barely get a point there. You can just see there, the ball doesn't make it over the net and was able to get a lucky point. Remember folks, never underestimate the power of luck. It's much more important than you think sometimes. Oliver drawing me into the net, but luckily was able to make something out of that shot. Drop shots are actually quite effective on this hard true surface. Very hard to move around. It's almost like running on sand. Speaking of which, I just made a drop shot there and Oliver could not get to it. It was too hard to run on the surface. Ooh, and double faulted thanks to the wind. Hey, remember, I told you I was going to make a lot of excuses about the wind. Close call there, but let's take a closer look. And indeed, it is out, so I get the advantage here. Thanks to the wind, I noticed that I need to try and play safer, play with a lot of arc, spin, and not necessarily go too much for my shots. But spoiler alert, that's not going to stop me from making plenty of errors. Speaking of which, my backhand slice there, way off target from my intended one. Errors are just such a costly thing against this guy with his consistency, and oh, there's a true Hall of Framers moment, way out with that forehand. Also lots of strange bounces on the surface. Yeah, hard true I tend to notice has a lot of strange bounces, but this is even more so than usual. In that moment, my opponent would agree with me. Even though I was trying to hit more conservatively, the ball can still sail out really far. You can just hear how loud the wind is from that. This match was mostly just about who could handle the conditions better, and couldn't get that drop shot, and Oliver was just handling these conditions way better than myself. Too much of a indoor cat playing indoor tennis. Oh, and Oliver was unable to get that pretty easy volley, but I think, again, the wind played a huge part in that, just changing the direction at the very last moment. Oh, a pretty close call, let's see. Yep, that is indeed out. got lucky there with that tape bounce and psyched Oliver out a bit. Ooh, another close call, but oh, actually maybe not that close. That would have been out even if there were no wind. Terrible moment for a double fault, but that's how it is in these conditions. And due to the simple fact that, yeah, I do need to improve my serve, along with my backhand. And thanks to me lacking in those two departments, I'm down 3-love. Ooh, couldn't get that shot right next to me thanks to that sandy-like texture of hard true. I noticed that hard true is particularly popular in the US, where Florida has quite a bit of them, I've noticed when I went down a couple years ago. But I'm curious as to what you folks see around where you are. What's the most common type of surface you see? Is it hard court, red clay, hard true like this? Feel free to leave a comment and share what's popular in your area. From where we are in New York City, I'd say there's kind of a mix between those three that I just mentioned, hard court, red clay, and hard true. Pretty balanced between those three. And back to this match, Oliver is just decimating me on the scoreboard, leading 4-love. I mean, it's not only because I'm unable to adjust to both the wind and the surface, but he's actually playing a pretty smart game. He's just trying to play very consistently, moving me from side to side often, trying to make me produce those errors. So he's definitely playing a lot smarter than I am, that's for sure. Really jumping for that backhand. Ooh, and simple error somewhat at the net from Oliver. I know he told me this year that that was one of the things he wanted to work on with his volleying game at the net. You all got something to work on, so totally understand. Luckily got away with that unintentional drop shot. Somehow that slice stayed in with the wind. But that one's definitely out. But going into the Hall of Framers as a consolation prize. Wind is really picking up in the middle of the point. So trying to play conservatively and playing almost like a pusher, trying to just have him make the mistake. Oh, but make a drop shot there. And is the lob good enough? Oh, it was, just barely. Luckily, no bagels for me this time. And you can just see how windy it is today, where his hat just flew right off as he was trying to do his second serve. And on top of that, the camera angle got messed up. It was even blowing the tripod. And yeah, sorry about the angle, folks. Looks a bit awkward, but hope you guys can still enjoy the match. Just a really great angle shot by Oliver, painting the line and couldn't even get it by sliding. And that's that weird hard true bounce sometimes. Even though it was slow for him, he just wasn't able to adjust to the strange bounce. That's the surface for you sometimes. Strategically the right shot to make there, but was just unable to land the ball into the court thanks to probably the wind again. And did a chip and charge right there, and luckily it paid off. Typically I don't like doing chip and charges. That tactic tends to not really be effective for me. Just often not enough pace and the opponent can do a passing shot, and Oliver's hat flew off again to the wind. An approach forehand, however, down the line or cross court is something that I much prefer over a chip and charge tactic. More reliable with the topspin, more pace, more pressure on the opponent. Ouch, the backhand struggles continue. My slice serve really pulling him way out wide, almost onto the other court. I think it's also due to the surface and window again. Too bad I can't take more credit for just having a good serve in general. Do an approach forehand to attack the net and finish the point off with a volley winner. Kind of a 1-2 punch. Oh, and Oliver dumps the shot into the net, and I'm somewhat clawing my way back into this. Also finally fixed that camera angle so that it's not as tilted and not covering the ad side. The confidence in my little mini comeback has kind of had me attack the net more, even though he had a nice passing shot. Was unable to get enough rotation on that backhand, just dumping it into the net. I try to put more pressure at the net and force the error. Only prolonging my demise a little bit. With that long forehand, now Oliver threatens the set with just one game away. And even more backhand errors continue for me. And if you play against me, that is the side to hit to, trust me. My forehand is far more reliable in comparison, and more pace too. So that wasn't a bad backhand. Ooh, and Oliver had me there, but just missed the execution of that drop shot, hitting it a bit wide. and do an approach fake drop shot to get that game against Oliver. So 1 game away from him, but still sudden death for me. Mentally, I was just trying to tell myself to play just 1 point at a time, not trying to overwhelm myself with myself trailing by an entire game. Even with this mindset, though, nothing is guaranteed, and I'm trailing then in this game by 2 points. Another chip in charge, which I'm not a big fan of, but paid off that time to close the gap of the score just by a bit. An untimely double fault for Oliver, but is it going to be enough for me? And the answer for that would be no, it would not be enough for me, and so Oliver takes the match with 6 games to 4. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed that and want to see more, feel free to subscribe. Thanks again, and see you later, Hall of Framers.